No, bless. Quick message on just being you, because those that truly basically manipulated, emotionally, mentally, tried to dampen you being you, that shit could have started off early as fuck, yo. Probably because you was jumping up and down on the couch, Somebody took it as something that you shouldn't be doing, but there's a reason why you're jumping up and down on the couch nowadays, It's like some things that people wanted you to not do back then, or called you stupid, you shouldn't be doing that, that ain't for you, you should never reach that high, this and that, yo. Those were all coming from people that were more in fear of them doing the same motherfucking things that they were stopping you from doing, Some things that you wanted to do back then, you had a whole bunch of people saying, don't do it, because they wanted to do it. They wished to do it. They wasn't able to do it. They couldn't pull it off like you. It's a whole bunch of shit that most people really pushed back. Well, pushed you into the darkness when it comes to what it was that you wanted to do, what it is that you want to do, or what it is that you need to do, Some people have their ways using that love tactic, using that friendship, that trust and a respectability, that connection, that tie that you have with people, that energy exchange. Some people will use that against you in order to stop you. And that's a part of you that will put some type of misery in a small part of you. It's like inserting here that you can't do this because so-and-so said something, or that little piece of advice that, if you didn't do this back then, you're not able to do this now. You shouldn't do this. That's a piece that you got to put in you because somebody said it, and somebody that you held in your heart, he's somebody that you sit there and often think about. You would never expect for motherfucker to negate what it is that makes you happy, right? But some people do it. But just remember, those are the parts of you that truly have to be questioned and asked about you, because what part of you accepted it in order for you to insert it? What part of you submitted to it in order for you to believe it, in order for you to take it and put it within you, in order for that whole thought, that whole energy to drive through you in order to stop you. That's a good part of shadow work, is to understand what word does someone say that triggers you into going into the darkness within yourself, It's what energy does someone carry when they were talking to you that made you submit or accept that part of you, and you inserted that, energy into you. Whereas now you're in the darkness of that part of you, You wanted to draw back then, but somebody said you couldn't draw, Your drawing wasn't right. Your colors is outside the lines and shit, and all your lines ain't straight. You stopped drawing. Now that's something, a part of you that you've been wanting to do, But that part, that person, those words trigger you. That now every time you see a sketchbook, you got a pencil in your hand. You don't want to motherfucking draw because you inserted that shit. You submitted to it. You accepted it. That somebody said back then, your lines ain't straight, so now you ain't drawing and shit. That's a part of shadow work, You got to ask yourself, why did it? And that's something that you still want to do. Why not continue doing it type shit, Motherfuckers like that really are more in fear because somebody said the same shit to them. The cycle fucking continues, yo. It's repetitive. This whole, I was about to say shit show. This whole classroom called Earth really is just to know that the cycles repeat, but it's on you to stop it and, do something else type of shit with the words, with the energy, with the vibration that motherfuckers use to actually stop you and put you in that corner, you know, put you in the darkness someplace to figure out if drawing was for you, if whatever was for you, you know, and why did they stop you? But sometimes motherfuckers stop you and they do the same things that they told you, you know, not to do. They go after the same thing that they told you you couldn't do, you know? But at the same time, when they fucking do it, it ain't the same. It ain't feeling the same. It ain't giving off the same excitement as when you did it, you know? People stop you when you're happy. People try to stop you when you're happy. People try to interrupt you when you're in your flow, you know, and that's when you'll notice those are the ones that ain't never wanted to do anything for themselves because titles, positions, and who they are to us, you know, we never see it. We don't want to see it because what they see in us is the same things that we question why. But we don't want to sit there and ask them why they stopping us. That's the questions that pushes us into the back, you know, into the darkness, because you're not going to question the person right then, you know, but you're going to question yourself as to why they said it, why they do it, you know. That's going to push us in the darkness. But then again, that's your shadow work. That's the shit that you got to pull out in the front as to why the fuck you even care in the first place. Because they cared enough to tell you no. They cared enough to tell you you can't do it. They cared enough to even tell you to stop, you know. But you stopping makes them happy. It makes you sad. That's the energy exchange. It's uneven reciprocation, you know. Because what makes you happy, you do the best to make them happy too. But some people don't want to exchange that shit with you. Therefore, they got to stay in that fear behind that closed door when it comes to you. That's crazy shit. Anyways, y'all, know what the most I got you. Have a good one. Bye.